Tuesdays Talking Reds. I'm Josh Sexton. I'm joined by my mate Lizzi Doyle again, and one of our other mates, Lizzi, has been talking this week, hasn't he? There's not a great deal going on in the Liverpool world. They're all in Marbella at the moment, living it up on their training camp. But our mate Alisson's been saying some words. He says the Liverpool have done the impossible, reaching the Champions League final, and it does feel quite a lot like that, doesn't it? Obviously, you know, that everyone's talked about the context of the game against Barcelona, but you saw the celebrations at the end, and it really felt like, you know, even just to reach the Champions League final again, you know, for the second year in a row, it feels like the pinnacle, doesn't it?
Yeah, it only felt impossible because of the Barca game, like all the way through the Champions League, other than the group stages. It felt possible because Liverpool were just ticking over whilst we're all stressing about the league, and they're out there battering Porto and battering Bayern Munich in their own backyard. So it felt very possible. But yeah, I went into that ground thinking, let's just have a nice time and enjoy watching Lionel Messi and Luis Suarez play at Anfield, and whatever happens, happens. That was my thought process. So I'm on board with the impossible because it did feel like that, and I just can't get my head around that next week we're there again. Like, I actually can't compute it. Like, Kiev for me was boss, and I keep thinking back to Shevchenko Park, and it was dead sunny and it was packed full of Reds, and Boss Night were on, Anfield Draft were on, and everyone was just having such a good time. And I remember savouring it because I was thinking, I don't know when this is going to happen to me again, at least around this age, so I'm going to take everything for what it is. And yeah, it's 30, 32 degrees in Madrid next week, and we're all going to be there again having a boss time. And it's just great. And
he added as well that he says it's a memory which will be with him forever. It's a story that I'll be telling my children and grandchildren. Yeah, same, mate.
Literally, yeah. Because I think that for Alisson, I understand why he's saying that as well.
It's nice to hear it still, isn't it? You know, from players like him who you probably consider to be the sort of the world stars in Liverpool's team, it's nice to know that they can sort of still look at it on that human level, where, like, you know, they're young lads, they're footballers who this is it for them. This is maybe the best moments that they'll have in their lives, and they're doing it playing for Liverpool and playing for us.
I don't think he realises. Actually, so he's saying he's going to tell his kids and grandkids about it because he played such a big part in it. I don't think he realises how many other people are going to tell their kids and grandkids about this because of him and 10 other lads who played that night. He's made a memory for millions. Like, it's, you know, we talk about it quite a lot. We done a show on it the other day, the greatest, talking about the greatest European nights, and I felt not hard done by. I'm quite lucky as a Liverpool fan like you. We're both around the same age. You know, for me, up until this season, the best European night that I'd personally been involved with was City quarterfinals last year. That felt like the most exciting, the most raucous, the loudest I've heard Anfield for God knows how long. I wasn't there 05 Chelsea, but that Barcelona was our 05. Like, we can claim that for ourselves now, and that was our first proper taste of a special European night that goes down with Saint Etienne, it goes down with Chelsea, it goes down with, you know, Barcelona again. I think it was 01. We've got that now because of him, so we can tell his kids and grandkids, but there's so many other people who've got that story now, and Liverpool fans, no matter what happens, like, we can only thank them for giving us an unbelievable memory, I think.
And it's interesting you mentioned the sort of feeling around Kiev last year, because you think about the run-up to Kiev, and it sort of happened because Liverpool steamrolled everyone, really, if you think about it. Like, it was always Liverpool, you know, dominating in the first leg, and then just sort of either seeing the job through in the first leg, or if you want to count the game at the Etihad, then, you know, going and doing what everyone said was impossible once again. But this season, this was the game where Liverpool were out. You know, they'd done this, the sort of, you know, they'd seen it through against Bayern in the first leg, and then come back. They'd seen it through against Porto in the first leg, and then seen it through again in their ground. But Barca, Liverpool were actually down and out. This was Liverpool at the Champions League. We hadn't seen Liverpool have to come back from that sort of adversity. This team under Jurgen Klopp, really, you know, this team have got together now. But that was Liverpool showing that they can basically win any kind of game.
It's mad. It's because I was so resigned.
When that Messi free kick went in at the Nou Camp, I was like, no chance, absolutely no chance.
And it's a bit like you'll see what I mean when I describe it. It's a little bit like the company goal. That feels like a goal that you just get done over by, and you go, listen, you know, so with the company goal, it was 0-0, and a goal like that goes in from a man like him in an area, You know, it just felt like all science was against that goal, but it went in and it felt like the inevitable. Bit different with Lionel Messi being the greatest person, like footballer to walk this earth. And even though it was so far out, there was just something in the back of your minds, weren't there? But when that goal went in, it felt the same as the company goal for me, and it felt like that's the goal that we're going out to. We're going out to a Messi free kick, not the other goals. When they broke for that potential fourth, my heart was in my mouth. But maybe that was a turning point, because who was it who legged it back? So Salah when Klopp was saying to Alisson to get up. Salah overruled Klopp and said to Alisson, stay back. Because if they scored a fourth, I think it really would have been game over. But there was something about it just being 3. And that's a moment. And then, you know, they overcome the impossible, what everyone said, and I'm just dead happy to be a Liverpool fan, and I think we absolutely deserve it. Like, that's not luck. That's sheer brilliance from Liverpool, and we deserve to be where we are.
And you mentioned it before that, you know, these are the sort of stories we'll tell our kids. We'll tell, like, you know, I remember my dad's growing up when I was hearing about Bruce Grobbelaar and his wobbly legs and all the sort of heroics of them goalkeepers in the past, Ray Clements and stuff like that. We'll be telling our kids about Alisson, and he's said on his sort of great saves from the season as well. I think that anything can change a series of events in 1 second or 1 minute, without a doubt. The save against Napoli was pretty much the last touch of the ball, and the save could be counted as a goal, I say, which I think is absolutely fair enough for him to not only back himself that, but to say, you know, that moment was as important as a goal, because if that goal goes in, you know, we don't have this. We're not talking about this. We're not talking about Barcelona. We don't have, you know, Munich away as one of our great memories. It ends there at the group stage, which would have been the sort of worst thing after going to the final last year.
Yeah, and that's the difference with a world-class keeper, and he is a world-class keeper, and all over the season he's done this, not just in the Champions League, and this is the difference in being a top-class side for me, is that you need a top keeper. If you don't, you look at the points he's saved us this season, which he has, not because we've played badly, but like I say, that's what they're there for. Yeah. He's excellent, and I'm so glad. Like, I remember when we played Roma last year and we were being linked with him, and I remember I was on the cop, and I remember when he's like, you know, when the opposition goalie comes in and the whole of the cop, I've never heard such a like loud applause for a goalie. They were clearly saying, "Come on, lad, you know, look what we can do for you." And he experienced a special night last year, and there's no wonder that he's come away going, "I want to be a part of this." And he's very, very integral to this side now, and he really deserves, you know, all the plaudits he gets, and he deserves his Champions League final, and he deserves the Champions League Cup.
And he's obviously one of the first names on the sort of team sheet to be going over to Marbella for this training camp as well. Naby Keita's also on that flight, which is probably good news.
Very good news.
In terms of the midfield, do you think that Naby Keita could be looking at that and thinking that he gets a start? I've seen some sort of different midfields kicking around. I know a few people think that Klopp's likely to resort to the sort of Milner, Henderson, Wijnaldum one. I personally think Fabinho gets in there probably over Milner. Is that the same as what you think?
I think so, because I think Milner as a sub is what Klopp wants. I think even if it's a case of taking off a full back, it's having James Milner to come on to either calm things down or ramp things up. I think someone said it on a show the other day, it's Milner or Wijnaldum. I think Fabinho and Henderson get in. It's Milner or Wijnaldum, and it's if you're down, if you're a couple of goals behind, you want Wijnaldum to come off. But if you want to control the game, if you're 2-1 up, you want Milner to come off your bench and shore it up. Naby Keita isn't seeing this game, I don't think. I think they said he's got 2 months out, and this is just a positive thing in terms of, you know, it's really good by Klopp and actually the team who, like all the fitness team, to say to Naby, come out with us, come and train with us, because, you know, they will have said to me, you're such an important part. You played such a big part as to why we've got here, and come and be amongst the squad, and it'll give him extra motivation to work that little bit harder, because he'll be looking at these going, they're playing in the Champions League final and I probably can't, and it'll just push him that little bit further. it's good news. It is good news. I don't think he even sees the game.
I think there's a chance he can make the bench because the Guinea boss came out, didn't he, and sort of said that, you know, he thinks he'll be fit for the African Cup of Nations, which I suppose is another important part to this for Naby Keita himself on a personal level.
Yeah.
But he also said he thinks he'll be back for the Champions League. So I think this is sort of feeding into that. I could see him making the bench, to be fair.
Be very good.
And he's a good option, isn't he?
Oh yeah, he's very driven going forward, and I think he's a really good attacking option. For someone to just have a go, basically. He literally cuts through the midfield. So I think if he's on the bench, then happy days. Don't think he'll start, but would love to see him on the bench with like the likes of Oxlade-Chamberlain and then two options to come off with a Milner or Wijnaldum. Sound that, isn't it?
It's interesting you mentioned Oxlade-Chamberlain because that sort of leads me nicely onto the next point you've mentioned on the agenda here. I think it's about the third warm weather training of the season, isn't it? So that they're used to this now, but what I've really enjoyed is the sort of camaraderie between them as well. You see in Oxlade-Chamberlain's Instagram story yesterday where Salah's asleep on the floor and he's got all the players crowding around him. He's ripping Dejan Lovren for saying, oh, there's other players in the team, you don't have to just hang around Mo all the time and stuff like that. It's really good to see that, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's the difference is with this side is they actually like each other. Yeah. Like they do. You can tell they get on well. They've all got the same spirit. They've all got the same mindset and mentality. And it's really good to see. And like I said, the warm weather training thing is a good thing. And people might not really think too much into it. But I'm thinking, you know, there's already been 2 this year. So they're used to training in that warm weather. It's all going back to what they're used to. And, you know, you'll look back at last year, that they'll know now what to do in this period of time between the break. They'll know from last year what they need to do to prepare for this final, maybe the same and maybe differently. They've got experience in the warm weather training and for the break that they had last year, whereas Tottenham don't. I think Tottenham as well, I think they had the most players, didn't they, playing like in the internationals or something like that. I can't remember the actual
got a lot of internationals in the team.
So they haven't had much training in in the international breaks, where we've had a couple of players who've stayed behind. So I think Liverpool are going into this with their heads held high, and rightly so. I think they are the favourites, and they should be the favourites. Yeah,
the Reds are in full swing for their build-up to Madrid, and so are we here at the Anfield Wrap. We had a cup of tea show, which is a little sit-down chat with some of the lads from Boss Night yesterday. That was Jamie Webster, Kieran Molyneux and Sean O'Donnell. That's really good. They've got a big event coming up at the M&S Bank Arena as well, so check out their Twitter for more details on that, and a few other shows they've got coming up in Ireland as well. We also recorded a special with Jamie Carragher, which is coming out today. We'll show you a little clip from that now, but in the meantime, nice one for watching.
I went straight on social media. That was the first tweet I did, probably 5 minutes as soon as the end of the game. Best night at Anfield ever. And sometimes you think when you say things like that, there's always someone on social media who'll say, well, you forgot about that, when you think, oh, fucking hell, I forgot about that game. But no, that was much better than anything I was involved in. The atmosphere against Chelsea, I can only talk about being on the pitch, I can talk about being in the stand now, but it was the same. You know, who says what's better, but to be Barcelona 4-0, Messi being 3-0 down the first leg, Salah being out, Firmino out, Robbo going off. It's by far the greatest Anfield for me. And I've said continually for the last probably 6 months, maybe more. Maybe last year when I come in, this is the best Liverpool team for 30 years. This is better than any Liverpool team I played in. And that's not me trying to score points on this team, or why would I? I'll say what I think, and maybe there's not lots of players because they always want to, our team is better, or we won this team hasn't won anything yet. And I won, I don't know, probably 9 or 10 trophies. This team hasn't won anything, but still better than any team I played in. There's no doubt about that in my mind. And